In this lesson, we're going to take a look at character animation using the story window. Now, you can see I've already brought in the ninja character that we were using a couple of lessons back, and what we're going to be doing is just pulling motion capture data right into story and using that to animate this character. So, for those of you who are familiar with motion blending inside of Motionbuilder 4, prepare to be blown away, because this is a lot easier than Motion Blend used to be. So let's go ahead and get started. I've already got my character in the scene. Now you already saw how I can right-click down here inside my action track list, and I can insert various types of tracks, including character animation tracks. But just a quick tip, if you've only got one character in your scene, you can go ahead, and let's jump in here inside our asset browser, and let me come under motions. If we want to, we can just grab a motion. In this case, I'm going to use walk. So down here, just walk out of the clip store and just drag it right inside, and look at this. It automatically sets up a character track, automatically assigns our ninja character to it, and our clip is brought right into the track.
That's very cool.
So very convenient. So I'll butt this right up against frame 0, and what I want to demonstrate is, let me hit play real quick so you can see this particular animation. All it is a simple walk sequence that is cyclable. Essentially what that means is the clip begins at almost the same pose at which it starts. So you could cycle this clip over and over and over and get a constant walk sequence. Let's say you wanted to do that. You don't have to bring this clip into story over and over. All you have to do is take your loop clips tool, which is activated right now, and just drag forward like so.
So is that actually adding new clips?
No, it's not. It's just taking the information that was in this clip and repeating it within the same clip. So we have this one clip with the same information looped over and over. Also, it's relative. So as we hit play, our character just walks right off the screen.
Very cool. So it offsets it.
Exactly. And we could just extend this as far as we want, and we could just pretty much make our character
go on to infinity.
Walk off into the sunset. He's tired of us. He's sick of fooling with us.
Where's the credits?
Yeah, there should be some credits after he walks away like that, shouldn't there? Anyway, so enough of that. I just wanted to demonstrate how the loop clip tool actually works. So with that out of the way, let me delete this clip out, and our character jumps right back to his T-stance. So what I want to do is actually create an animated sequence using several different pieces of animation. And then we're going to be using this sequence, one, to demonstrate how you can blend in between clips, how you can move the trajectories and ghosts of clips into place to get a nice looking sequence. And then finally, we're going to use this sequence later on in other lessons for camera animation, for generic and constraint animation, the camera switcher, and so on. So for starters, what I want to use, I've decided on the animations I'm going to be using. You might want to kind of go through them and play with them yourself. Let me resize my windows a little bit to make this a tad easier. Very nice how customizable the UI of Motionbuilder is.
That's for sure.
I'm going to come under my generic motions. Actually, I'm sorry. Just under the regular motions. And we have an animation called Stand to Run. So stand to run, and I'll just drag this right in here to our character track. You'll notice our little ninja character jump a little bit, and then if I hit play, he stands there and then he starts to run. Now for those of you who remember how to use motion blending inside of Motionbuilder 4, can you believe how much easier this is? I mean, originally you had to bring the motion into the scene, you had to match your character to it, all these tasks you had to do. Now we're just down to simple drag and drop, and everything just rolls.
It's unbelievably simple, really.
It's almost automatic. It's incredible. So we have our first animation in here of our character standing and then starting to run. Now what I want to do is activate ghosts. As soon as I switch this on, take a look at what we get.
So that's sort of his trajectory.
Exactly. We have a trajectory line here that shows where the animation is going to be headed. We also see the ghost of the animation, which is this little skeleton you see inside of our ninja right now. Let's go ahead and just drag up here, and you can see how that ghost goes right along with him. Now let's bring in another bit of animation. Let's bring in something kind of cool. Under generic motions, I'm going to grab the tumbling animation, and I'll just butt it right up against this particular animation. Now check this out. We now have two ghosts and two trajectories in our scene, and you'll notice they're in two huge different locations, very different locations, and two very different trajectories. So if I scrub through really slow so everybody can see, our ninja runs, and then all of a sudden he snaps over to the other location to go through his tumbling routine. Also, look at this. Here's the ghost from the run sequence. You can see down here inside of story, the track is yellow, the ghost is yellow. Over here inside of, up here we have a green clip for tumbling and a green ghost. So everything's color-coded to keep everything straight. But what's up with this snapping? We can't have our character jumping in such a horrible distance. Fortunately...
Plus he's pointing the other direction.
Right. He's even going the opposite direction. So this is entirely unusable. We have several options. First of all, we can come up here to our viewer and actually grab the trajectory, this entire bit of animation, and move it in space. Now what I mean by that is down here inside of story, you can adjust when a clip happens in time. In the viewer, you can move when a clip happens in space. So if I wanted to, I could rotate this clip around 180 degrees by hand. I could try to match it up as best I could, maybe something kind of like this, and I could spend all day just trying to get that to line up. Fortunately, we don't have to do that. All I have to do is click on this final clip, and up here I have the match button. I click on this, and I can match to the clip's pivot at the clip start as far as match time goes, and then I'll match in translation and rotation. We'll hit match, and boom, look at this. Automatically matches right up. Now that takes care of part of our problem. If I scrub through real slowly right now, you can see that he is now going in the same direction as the run sequence, which is very good. That's helping us out a great deal. But what's the problem here, Joel?
It snaps a little bit right at the end.
Oh yeah, right as we go from one clip into the other, we snap.
Kind of ugly.
Exactly. But there's a way to fix this as well. Each clip inside of the story window, inside of Motionbuilder, has a fade in and a fade out. So what we can do is take this run clip and grab its fade out handle, which is right here, and bleed it back a little bit. So it's actually starting to fade out and into the next clip. Then we'll take the fade in of the tumbling and move it as well. So now we're fading out of one clip and fading into the other. The really interesting thing is, watch right here, we can see at this clip, at the fade in, that we're starting to fade. If I drag it, you can just see the number 72 right there. So we're starting to fade at 72. So right as I get to 72, watch this. The character separates from the ghost. You can see the yellow ghost back here for the run. You can see the green ghost up here, and our character is actually in between.
Much better.
And now we fade into the tumbling, so you can see now, we're not even completely matched up with the tumbling animation yet. Our character is kind of blended right in between the two. So now if we go ahead and hide our ghosts, let's rewind a little bit and just kind of play through this.
Beautiful.
Much cleaner. And we've just taken two entirely separate animations and blended them together just like that. Very quick, very easy. I'll go ahead and bring ghosts back up for the next bit, because now I'm going to add another bit of animation. If we watch the entire tumbling sequence, if you will, our character is going to do this great round-off back handspring. Actually, we need some more frames in here. Looks like our frames end at 254. Let me go ahead and bump this up to say something like 600, and we'll just kind of back up a little bit and play through this. So he does a backflip, and he goes, ta-da!
But this is a ninja, man.
Ninjas do not ta-da.
Never.
No, you will never see a ninja do a ta-da. That's just not cool. Gymnasts, maybe, gymnastics kind of people, they can ta-da. A ninja is a creature of the night that sneaks around assassinating people, swinging cool swords, and throwing out all kinds of awesome weapons. I always wanted to be a ninja, can you tell?
Yes, I can.
But a ninja is never going to throw his arms out and go, ta-da. So, what we're going to do is get rid of this entire part of this clip. We do not want that to ever, ever happen. So let's scrub back here, right about the point where he lands this flip. Maybe right about in here. And I'm going to use my razor tool and just cut off this end of the clip, delete it out, no ta-das for this ninja, goodbye, thank you. Instead, what I'm going to bring in is a piece of another animation. If I scroll down to the bottom of my generic motion list here, I've got walk, roll. And let's just bring this in. And I'm going to play through it. Actually, I'll tell you what, let me use this as an example, just a way to show another tool. Let me delete that back out. You saw earlier how we had to use the match tool to make clips match. Watch this. I can just click auto, and things will automatically match as I bring them in based on the settings that we set up inside this window. So now if I bring in walk, roll, look at this.
Wow.
automatically match back up. I don't even have to worry about it. But let's have a quick look at this animation all by itself. It's a character who walks and then just kind of rolls across the ground. So let's kind of zoom in a little bit so we can see that just a tad better. So he walks and he rolls across the ground. What I want is to take that rolling action. So I want our character to land his backflip, but while he's still crouched, I just want him to roll forward. So let's cut this clip to, I don't know, maybe right about here.
That looks pretty good.
Well, maybe back a little bit. I don't want to be too picky. Right about here. We'll go ahead and razor this out, and we'll just delete out this walking part. So it's gone. Goodbye. Now, in time, or as far as the story window is concerned, we will butt this clip right up against our tumbling clip. But in space, you'll see there's still a division there. So if we drag in between the two, we get snapping.
Plus, they're going a different direction.
I was coming to that. Don't jump ahead. It's okay. No problem. So let me go ahead and hit match, and we'll just match this to its last clip. So now this trajectory jumps back, and you'll notice the trajectories are still going in the same direction. Motionbuilder thinks that's right, and in a sense it is. The trajectories are moving in the same path, and in most cases that's what you're going to want. In this particular case, though, our ninja has turned around and is facing the other way, so we actually want him to roll in the opposite direction.
Right.
So we can just grab this clip, we'll grab our rotate tool, and I'll just do this by hand. I'm sure Bingo's thinking, or Joel is thinking in the back of his mind, you could just use the type-ins and have a perfect, accurate representation.
That is what I'm thinking.
I know, but I'm just going to do this by hand, like so. So now our trajectory is facing back in the opposite direction, so now let's scrub through this again. Actually, let me hide the ghosts and deselect everything to make it a little easier to see. Our ninja completes his backflip and then goes right into a roll forward. But we still get a little bit of snapping from one clip to the other.
Right.
In this case, I'm going to use a different kind of blend. You saw how we can take the fade in and fade out of our clips and adjust them. We can also just take our clips and overlap them and get what is called a cross blend, where they just overlap. You'll notice the fade ins and fade outs cross right over each other. Now watch this. As he hits the ground, he just blends right into the roll. So let's rewind and play this back. Sorry, my viewers can't just be just a little bit bigger. Just for video purposes, we had to kind of shrink it down. But we'll go ahead and hit play. And here, I'll move the camera while we work. So we tumble, lands, and then rolls right back forward. Very snazzy looking move. Very nice. Very dangerous move. I mean, I'd be kind of worried about anybody who could do that on the fly. Alright, so from here, I want to throw in some kicks. Now, in several of the VTMs in the past, we watched them, we've used the kick animation in several different things, we've made that clip famous now, but it's just so cool. And finally for Motionbuilder, we have a ninja model we can use it with.
It's a perfect match.
So, I'm going to jump back in here to generic motions, and if I scroll up, we have the Mighty Mighty Kicks animation. And I'll just bring it in and butt it right up against our last one. Let's go ahead and show our ghost real quick. And we can see the trajectory. Oh, excuse me, didn't mean to rotate that. Just undo that. We can see how the trajectory of this has been matched up to the trajectory of our last one. So if I play through, I deselect to get that gizmo out of the way. Our character does his tumbling routine, rolls forward, and then goes right into a kick routine. But if we zoom in a little bit, go ahead and say it, Bingo. I can hear you thinking, man.
It is a little bit of a snapping there.
Yeah, a little bit of a snapping.
But it is impressive.
Problem.
There's not much.
No, there's not much. These two clips kind of fall nicely together, but you can see right here, just a real gentle pop. So let's just do another quick cross blend. We'll just match one right over the other, about like so. Maybe just a little bit more. So now he's just kind of adjusting his feet a little bit and going right into the kick.
Very nice.
So really, with that, we've got an entire animated sequence nice and laid out. But wait, there's more. There's something else I want to do. Let's play through this kick sequence for those out there who might not have watched it, and just because I love seeing this sequence.
I've watched it, but I want to see it again.
I've seen it so many times, but I just want to watch it one more time. Let's go ahead and play back through this. I'll move the camera to where everybody can see nicely. So our character runs and does a nice snap kick. Let's zoom out away from him a little bit. Then does kind of a cool roundhouse. Then backs up one more time and does a nice full spin roundhouse kick. awesome kick. I really like that third kick, though.
It is nice.
It's very nice. Let's do kind of a special effect for that kick. What do you say?
I like it.
Alright. Let's come in here to our timeline, and let's just scrub until he's right in the middle of that great double leg roundhouse kick that you see here. And I'll back up. It looks cool backwards, too. Right as he goes into this kick, so right about here, let me zoom out a little bit inside of story, I'm going to razor this clip. So, cut. Now it's two separate clips. We'll go ahead and adjust the blend handle there. So now we have two separate clips, and right now, since they're of the same animation, there's no snap. They just blend perfectly, one right into the other. Now what I want to do is scrub forward in this new clip, right about to the point he lands his kick. So maybe right about here, and I'm going to razor again. Now, check this out. I'm going to take the end sequence, this part where he lands and kind of squares himself back up and takes a couple of steps back. Oop, actually I grabbed the center kick here, but that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it is.
So
they're both really cool.
Yeah, we'll just actually we could do it with both of them. You want to do that?
Might as well.
All right, just for this one example. We'll go ahead and we'll grab this kick too. So right about here, I'm going to clip again, and then we'll scrub forward a little bit to where he lands it, and I'll just razor a second time. So now I have all these separate clips that denote this one animation. Now watch this. What I'm going to do, let me zoom out so we can see this a little better. I'll take this end clip, scoot it way out here, and I'm just going to kind of respace things out a little bit. Alright, so now we have all of this spacing in between our clips. Now check this out. Now I showed you guys the clip looping a minute ago. Now I'm going to switch over and show you scaling. This part of the clip, watch this. Right now we're kind of frozen. This is where he's actually doing the kick. I'm going to scale this out so that it matches up with the rest of the clip. And watch what this does. Remember how I said scaling out was like slowing down the timeline? Watch this. If I hit play, bullet time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, slow motion for the kick. And then he goes back into normal speed. Now let's go ahead and increase our frames a little bit. Let's say jump this up to about 800. Now I'm going to do the same thing with our second kick. We'll just scale it out. So now it's been slowed down as well. And let's play back through this sequence. We back up. Slow motion kick. And then another slow motion kick. And then back into real time and everything. So I actually need a few more frames to show the whole sequence. So we'll just hit play again.
And then he goes back into real time.
And there's everything's back into real time. So we've seen how we can take all kinds of clips, bring them into story, we can blend them together to animate a character. So much easier than Motion Blend used to be inside of Motionbuilder 4. But there's one more thing, I keep saying, just one more thing I want to show.
Only one more.
There's so many things you can show, I just, gotta show them all. So let me zoom out here to where we can see all of these great clips. And then what I want to do is right-click on this track, and I'm going to insert a subtrack. And it's going to be override in this particular case. Now let's bring it down, and we can see that our character's already been put in here, but there's a new button here, and what this does is this controls what is influenced as far as this track is concerned. You see we have full body, which consists of the upper body, head, left arm, and so on and so on. What I want to do is I want to find a piece of animation that'll make our character kind of look around right before he goes into his run. And it turns out there is one. It's called ST Look, and that's under the Clip Store. So I'll just come down here to ST Look, and I'm going to drag this right inside of our subtrack, and I'll join it right up against frame 0. And right now, since it's additive, or actually, I'm sorry, since it's override, pardon me, what's going to happen is it completely overrides the animation. So our character just stands here and looks, and then goes in with the rest of his animation. That's not what we want. What I want to do is take this, I'm going to deactivate this from full body, and reactivate it just for the head. So now look at this. If we come in here, let's zoom into our character so we can see nice and clearly. He's going to turn his head based off this subtrack of animation before he goes into his run.
So that clip sort of just influences the head.
It's only influencing the head. That's the only reason it's there.
Well, actually, the whole track is only influencing the head.
Right, that whole track, the whole thing, is there only for the head. So any animation that we were to put on this track would only influence the head. This is a great way to add animation to different parts of the body. Let's say you've already got like a running clip or a track where a character's running, but you need them to also hold a pistol and shoot it. Great. If you've got an animation of a character holding out a gun and shooting it, you can just take the arm animation, put it in as a subtrack of the run animation. Now your character is running and shooting a gun at the same time.
Way too easy.
So it's very easy to play with. But there's just one more thing. I keep saying that. We're going to drag down here and expand this. So here our track content includes our ninja. And down here at the bottom, we have weight, which I demonstrated earlier, but I just want to show off one more time. Look at this. If I zoom in here to about halfway through our little head turn animation here, so we're about halfway through this subtrack, we can see he's turned all the way over. Maybe I think that that's too much of a head turn. Maybe I want it to be a little gentler than that. All I have to do is take the weight of this subtrack and bleed it off a little bit and look at his head. It's actually turning to reflect the change in weight. So if I set this to about 50%, he just kind of gently turns his head off to the side for a moment.
Just a little bit more subtle.
There you go. So it's all about subtlety. It's all about how you can control how much influence each track has over your character. Just amazing stuff you can do inside. So let me zoom out here real quick. We'll watch this entire sequence again, and then we'll jump back through here, and we'll go on to the next lesson. So let me rewind. We'll just kind of square the camera up a little bit. We'll hit play. So he's running, goes into his tumbling sequence, rolls forward, and starts kicking. So he does one kick, and then slow motion kick, and then slow motion kick number 2. Alright.
Yeah, very nice.
So that's pretty much going to wrap up this lesson. So thanks a lot.